Good evening, and welcome to another edition of the 2020 Economic Recession and Preparation Channel. Today is Wednesday, November 6, 2019, Hump Day Wednesday, and we continue to see things take a turn for the worse. But I just want to start off with some good news here. The good news is that we haven't crashed yet. The good news is there's always time to prepare, to continue to top off your preps, to continue to make preparations as needed for 2020 as we inch closer and closer. We're now inside 80 days before the new year. And so, guys, time is running short and things are happening very fast. Today, the numbers on the market, the Dow Jones was down approximately 0.7%. Not too much change, kind of a tepid day on the markets. So, Bloomberg News is reporting that the worst may be over for the global economy amid signs of, quote, stabilization. So, it appears here that they say that signs of a trade deal, nothing in writing, boosts optimism. Nothing in writing, but it helps to boost optimism here, according to reports. So, they're saying, some global economists are saying that the worst may be over for the world's economy. Deepest slowdown in a decade after a wave of interest cuts by the central banks, including the Federal Reserve. The key economic indicators now show signs of stabilization. This is according to Bloomberg. David Mann, chief economic strategist for the Standard Chartered PLC in Singapore, he says we do see multiple reasons for stabilization and global growth in 2020. Among the reasons for confidence, the manufacturing index contracted for a 6 month in a row in October. Okay, the PMI manufacturing index contracted down to 49.8. It's below 50. This is its lowest level since the 2008-2009 economic crash that we had. But despite that, the government job reports are saying that the payroll gains exceeded forecasts, and hiring for the previous 2 months have been up, as we've noted earlier. And they're also saying that in Europe things are stabilizing now, but I'm going to tell you right now that that's not the case, because we have Deutsche Bank that came out today and rebutted a bunch of Twitter comments saying that they were on the verge of collapse. ZeroHedge.com was reporting that they were on the verge of thinking about filing for bankruptcy, as a matter of fact. And so Deutsche Bank quickly took to the Twitter rolls and said that these rumors are not true and that everything is okay. Well, Deutsche Bank has been in the news for the last 8 to 9 months. They're in much bad financial shape with the derivative market, as well as a huge amount of debt. And it's only a matter of time before those dominoes come falling down over there in Germany. As a matter of fact, Germany, as you know, is already deep into negative interest rates. They're deep into a recession. As a matter of fact, the ECB, the European Central Bank, is considering a stimulus plan as early as summer 2020 to help out them. A big stimulus plan that's going to inject into Main Street, not through the banks. And so that's how bad it is over there. But everything is okay, right? They're saying that, Bloomberg is reporting everything is okay. Everybody's hoping for this phase 1 China trade deal. Everybody's hoping that Brexit will resolve itself somehow, magically. The Fed Chairman Powell continues to encourage easy borrowing and cheap money, diluting the money, diluting the dollar. The value of your U.S. dollar is being diluted 2 to 3 times this year. So you need to be thinking about moving your assets into silver, into gold, into hard liquid cash, at least while it has some value, and also into preps. Preps will be key. Food, water, medicine, weapons, supplies, things of that nature will be key as we head into shortages. Now, one interesting thing to note here, I want to sidetrack at just how bad things could get here. A young man was shot over a Popeye's chicken sandwich, in Maryland. Now, if you remember when the sandwiches first came out, there was a shortage of sandwiches, and apparently they stopped making them, and they just reinstated the chicken sandwich at Popeye's this past Sunday, November 3rd, in most places around the U.S. So if this is the good times and people are fighting and killing each other over chicken sandwiches and over who knows what, can you imagine going to a Walmart or a Target or a Costco or a Sam's or any one of these grocery stores when there's a food shortage on vegetables, on water? Can you imagine what the conditions would be like? It's going to be like Mad Max as soon as this stuff comes to light that we don't produce as much as we think we do. When we start experiencing food shortages, electricity shortages, when they cut the power to people over here for an extended period of time. And that's why I always stress get prepared, folks. It's not a game. We're more at the mercy of nature and of the elements and also other things than we think. This is from CNBC.com. U.S. productivity drops by the most since the fourth quarter of 2015. Okay, this is today. American workers were unexpectedly less productive during the third quarter, with growth in their output failing to keep up with the hours worked. Okay, so as most Americans in the middle class, regular hardworking Americans in the Midwest and the South, and the West and the Northeast, continue to work hours, continue to get their benefits cut. Unions are a thing of the past. And yet we continue to see an influx of people that shouldn't be here in this country, and they're getting more benefits than the people who are actually here. So that's not going to be a recipe for a solution. On top of that, we have automation that is coming in and taking all of the jobs that are left here, and robotics. And now you go in the stores, you see robots taking over the cleaning aspects of the store, the custodial, and some of these retail stores. And so, of course, the output will fail. This is what the big rich companies want. They don't want to pay benefits. They don't want to pay retirements and pensions. They don't want to pay anything. They want everything for cheap. And so cheap comes at a cost. It eventually comes at a lower standard of living and an economic collapse, because you can only get so much on the cheap before the bill comes due. And the bill is coming due to America very, very soon. So, productivity drops. U.S. services companies groups growth rebounds in October. Okay, it said that the service index went up from 52.6% in September to 54.7% October. Any reading above 50 signals growth. And so, but this is the service sector. Okay, we're talking about bellhops, fast food workers, massage therapists, construction workers, things of that nature. Okay, remember now, the service sector accounts for more than 2/3 of the U.S. economic activity, has been expanding for 117 straight months according to the survey ISM index. Okay, so we have according to the Fed and to others, we have a historically low unemployment rate at 3.6%, those who have jobs, but we have the highest unemployment in the world. California, New York, Florida, D.C., Detroit. We have some of the highest homeless populations in the world and some of the highest jail populations in the world. What a combination, okay? When some of these think about it, when some of these private jails that are now becoming privatized, if they can't meet their bills, what are they going to do with the thousands and millions of hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of prisoners that are locked up, and your taxpayer dollar is paying for them on death row and other places locked up, and they can't afford to pay the security guards, the correctional officers, the wardens, the maintenance, the nursing staff, everybody there? They're going to be set free, basically. In some of these little towns and counties and states, they're just not going to be able to afford it. Chicago's going broke right now. As a matter of fact, they're going bankrupt with the pension. And they're not the only state that's having problems. We know California's in a world of trouble with their pensions and the amount of debt they're in. And California, by the way, is the third largest economy in the United States, yet if not arguably in the world. Okay, so that's how much impact that they have on us here in this system. So the 2020 economic collapse will begin, and it will be a steep learning curve for those who have placed their faith in stocks and bonds with no yield, inverted yield curve, with those who place their faith in paper. Okay, and not real hard tangible assets that you will need. Actually, I'm going to go a step further and say you're going to need skills. Okay, hunting, fishing, sewing, Everything that your grandma and your grandpa taught you on the farm, out away from these cities, because they're going to become literal jungles. Someone getting killed over a Popeye's chicken sandwich is just going to be the tip of the iceberg when things really get going later on next year and into 2021. We could see lines for gas, food, water. You could see lines for even makeshift tents. Who knows? If for those who don't want to be rounded up and going to these different camps that, FEMA provides, supposedly. So you want to be as self-sufficient as possible. And that's what I preach to you guys on this channel. That's what I live by, is to be self-sufficient as possible, because you don't know what they're going to be putting in the food that they give you, the government. You don't know what they're going to be putting in the water that they give you. You don't want to be one of those people that is 100% reliant on aid, quote unquote. Now, the reason I say that is because you guys remember Hurricane Michael. I don't know if you remember Hurricane Michael 2 years ago that hit the Florida Panhandle. Those folks out there still hadn't got the money from FEMA and all these agencies to rebuild Mexico Beach and all those places down there in Panama City and Mexico Beach and the Air Force Base that got Tyndall military base that got destroyed. All of those billions of dollars has not reached the people, okay? The people, wildfires in California, over $80 billion of damage in California with these wildfires this year, okay? Insurance companies over there are tripling the rates for those who want to come back and rebuild, but most people are not going to take that chance. They're just going to take whatever rubble they can find in the rubble and get out of there as quick as possible, and I don't blame them. So you're going to have to reduce your standard of living. You're going to have to go to a cheaper place, and you're going to have to be self-sufficient. And you're going to have to learn survival skills. Go to your nearest library. Take as many courses as you can. Go to the range. Continue to train, okay? Even if it's once a month. Continue to teach your kids self-sufficiency. Continue to teach them how to cook, ladies. How to sew, men. How to hunt. How to defend yourself with weapons or no weapons or naturally, okay? You need to be preparing. If you're just a couch potato, you're going to get steamrolled over when this thing falls down, because it's going to catch you with your pants down, okay? It's going to be a gradual collapse. Yes, the stock market may not go down completely, but it will lose 55% or more of its value when this thing goes down. And that's not going to be just a stock market. Everything is in a bubble. Student loans, credit cards, mortgages, car loans, manufacturing, everything is in a bubble. And that's what makes this one so different than 1929, because even though it appears we have all this material gains in the United States in terms of fancy hotels, fancy cars, fancy houses, you name it, fancy computers, tablets, cell phones, we've been blessed in that sense, but it's led us to a complacency, and it's led us to a dependency on technology. And that, my friend, is dangerous, because a lot of the population is not going to be ready for the things they're going to be seeing in this country, in America, as lifestyle conditions will be deteriorating slowly. Just like when a hurricane arrives, first you get just a little tropical storm, you get the breeze and everything. Everybody's like, okay, I can handle this. And then when the hurricane winds come, it's a whole different ball game. When the major hurricane winds come and you're there for 12 hours in it with no power, no food, no Coast Guard, no nothing. You're out there at sea for 12, 24 hours, maybe 2 days, 3 days. So prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. But things are not looking good, and they won't be looking good next year. If you think things are getting better, then you're in for a world of surprise, because we're moving toward a whole new economic system, digital money system, and that means that this system here has to be reset and crash, because the value of everything is very inflated, and the super rich 1% people that run most of this stuff, run most of the companies, they can't make no money because they have all the money. There is no money for the disposable income for the average daily Joe person to be able to survive. And that's why homelessness is going up. That's why rents are going up. That's why food is going up. That's why your taxes on your cars, on your houses, on your water bill, everything is going up. But your paycheck, but your wages. You notice that everything is increasing. So the only way we can fight back initially is to increase our minds, increase our self-sufficiency, increase what's in our brain. Knowledge is going to be one of our greatest assets in fighting this next coming recession, depression, okay? Knowledge on skills and how to do actual things, okay? Because that's what saved people back in the 1929. And another thing that saved people back in the 1929 Great Depression is that people worked together, okay? Some of my neighbors, I wouldn't feel too comfortable working together with them, but if push come to shove, I might be able to see what we can do, depending on how things are. But and this thing is going to be different because there could be a lot of gangs and different factions running around, because the police are just not going to be there for us, because they're going to be overwhelmed. Okay, they're overwhelmed by a couple of calls on service calls 911. Can you imagine when things hit the fan, how many calls they're going to get? They're going to be abandoning you and trying to defend their own families. Okay, so that's the situation we're in. So we're coming up on about a month anniversary of our next Fed rate cut meeting. Is December 10th and the 11th. It'll be interesting to see how much they cut. Do they go 25 basis points for the holidays? Do they go 50 basis points? It'll be very interesting to see. Keep it here to the 2020 Economic Preparation and Recession channel. We'll have all the latest news for you. If you have any comments or suggestions, or just thoughts on where you think the next move is going to be, please comment down below. Continue to support. Tell your friends to subscribe, because they don't want this information getting out to the general public. And God bless, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, evening. Bye-bye.